What's happening, guys? Today we are going to talk about week 20 of Vivyen's reverse diet, aka metabolic building. Alright, before we get into the topic at hand, I want to ask you a question and also tell you one thing that's going to be happening here that's a little bit different. So you may have noticed that this video is coming out on a Saturday. I'm switching up my schedule. I had been doing every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for videos. I am now going to switch that Friday video to Saturday. So now it's every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. So you're still getting your 3 days per week of videos. It's just going to be on a slightly different schedule. Now, the question that I have for you is, how are you feeling about this reverse diet series? I have been noticing, I've been paying attention, and it seems like it's being less well received the longer I do this, which I get. Like, the longer you do something, it kind of gets a little bit repetitive and you feel like enough is enough. Every time I do one of these videos, I see kind of a drop down in things. So are you still getting stuff out of it? Would you think it might be better to switch to doing less frequent updates? And that's kind of where I'm actually kind of leaning towards. So instead of doing like an every single week type of a thing, because at this point, after 20 weeks of this, I think you get the idea of how a reverse diet works, right? Like, you can see the progress week to week to week and how it's being handled. So I'm thinking like maybe every few weeks, every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe even like every 4 weeks, doing a quick update and saying, here's what's happened during that time, and here's the adjustments we've made, and maybe that way it won't quite feel so repetitive. But let me know your thoughts. So anyway, for this week, things were a little bit different for Vivyen. Her just kind of life in general was a little bit atypical. So her normal patterns were kind of off, and she did a lot more moving around in just kind of everyday life. So she went to Six Flags once and did a lot of walking around. She helped somebody move furniture for like 12 hours. So there's just a lot of different movement. And because of this, her eating was a little bit off as well. So there were a lot more eating out and things just weren't quite as normal. And that's just kind of something we always have to think of. But the big benefit here, the big plus side of things, is she didn't let it turn into the all or nothing approach like she used to do. Like, her relationship with food is so much better now that she is now getting into positions where she can be off and be in positions like being at a buffet and not feel the need to overeat and still be able to kind of account for it and just be okay with getting somewhat close and understanding that it's not going to be perfect and that's okay. So that's a huge win. And it just really goes to show like how well a reverse diet, if done right, can really help your relationship with food. And this is why the process goes so well, because you get away from all or nothing behavior that absolutely destroys people. So even though things were off, she actually saw a big drop in the scale this week. Now there's 2 reasons for this in my mind. One is, I actually made a mistake last week, and I'm just gonna own it. Like, I'm human, I made a mistake. I did not factor in her weight was elevated last week because she had been on her period, right? Sorry guys, TMI, but hey, this is just life. This is something that women deal with, and it's something we always have to factor in, because most of the time when women are on their cycle, their weight does elevate, and that's something you have to factor in. And ladies, when you're reversing or when you're dieting, you always have to keep that in mind too. Not only is your weight going to be elevated during this time, but you're just going to be a bit more emotional, and it's going to be one of these things where your hormones can kind of mess with you. So sometimes it's better to even just kind of stop weighing yourself when you're on your period if it really messes with you, because you have to know that, hey, it's not accurate anyway, so why let it bother me? So if that's you, maybe don't weigh yourself during that time. If it doesn't bother you, if you can still do it, then it doesn't hurt to continue to do it. But anyway, her weight was a little bit elevated, so I probably still could have pushed calories last week, but that's neither here nor there at this point. So weight has come back down because of that, and then weight has also come down probably because of all the extra expenditure she got. So 12 hours of moving furniture plus 6 hours of walking around at Six Flags, that adds up to a lot, right? So that has to be factored in. But even with that, I still want to go ahead and make an adjustment this week. I'm actually going to bump up her protein by 10 grams. And I'm going to do that because it's a safe increase, right? So I wanted to get her protein up just a little bit more anyway and get a little bit past the 1 gram per pound, and she doesn't mind the extra protein, so why not get the gains? And I just felt like this is a safe increase, weight's coming back down, let's go ahead and make that increase, and it should be just fine. So that now brings her up to 135 protein, 305 carbs, and 77 fat. So she is eating a lot of food, and she is now up almost 750 calories from when she started, still down a couple of pounds. Everything's in a good spot, so makes Colin happy. So just got to remember, get away from the all or nothing approach, all right? You got to create a better relationship with food, and a reverse diet can really help with that. Now, one other thing I did want to touch on real quick with regards to the process going really well for her and how it doesn't go well for a lot of people. I have found over time that the majority of the time when the reverse diet does not go well for somebody, it's not necessarily the reverse diet just causing it not to go well. It's not that they're gaining a ton of weight because of the reverse. It's usually lack of adherence during the reverse. So it can be very easy to get away from trying to stay on your structure and stay on your routine and be good with things when you're in a reverse, especially when your focus is, I want to lose weight right now, but I'm increasing my calories and I'm not actually focusing on weight loss. And it can get to a point where you feel like, hey, there's not really much point. What does it matter? I'm just increasing my calories anyway, so why be so diligent and why stay on top of things? And then what does it matter if I overeat? I'm gonna gain fat anyway, so why not just go nuts? And then what ends up happening is you gain a lot of weight really fast, and it's because of your lack of adherence to the plan. So if you're in a reverse yourself right now and you're really struggling with things and your weight's increasing much faster than you would like, there's a couple things you need to look at. One, how's adherence been? And be truly honest with yourself. Are you getting really lax with how you track the food that you track, how you track it, all that type of stuff, right? And if adherence is there, if it's still good, then you need to maybe knock your calories back a little bit. Because if you're getting at too fast of a rate, that just means that you've increased a little bit too fast and your body's not ready for it yet, so you need to slow down the pace a little bit. But most of the time, when things aren't going well from a reverse, it's because you're not really adhering to the reverse, and that's causing it to go poorly. So the people who always do really well with the reverse are the people who stay on plan and don't get into this all or nothing mentality. So as can be seen by what we've been talking about in this video and many videos, it doesn't mean perfection. It just means not getting into the all or nothing approach. So it's just something to think about. Anyway, hopefully this video helped. As always, any questions, please let me know, and I will talk to you next time.
I'm addicted to the love that you're giving. Every minute, every day I've been craving.